We're going to be winging it a bit. I'm thinking, usually in a story, there's like a baseline of kind of what the life is like. And then there's
An
something that happens,
introduction,
some kind
yeah.
of catalyst moment that changes it.
The catalyst moment is that I had a breakdown in end of August because I realized that I was pretending to be someone that I'm not. And so I've reverted to now not caring what people think and just doing my own thing.
Right.
But immediately after that, you get like this rush of like, oh, I'm going to do all of these great things and motivation. You have this big list of things to do. But then the motivation wears off and it's really hard to keep pushing forward. And you're kind of starting to feel lost again in the process.
And so, before you realize that you're pretending to be someone else, what
led
your
up
life
to
like then? Yeah.
So what led to this issue was actually a fight with a friend. And I realized that I couldn't be honest about how I felt and who I am as a person. And I realized that I was doing this to basically everyone I know. So I portray a version of myself that's not really quite true because I'm scared that people are not going to accept who I am. So I pretend to be like this other version of me. But then when I get rejected, it's even harder because you're not even being yourself. You're being someone else, and not even that is good enough.
And why do you think in the past you've had this urge to be someone else?
I think I was very naive growing up and very like soft, and I didn't trust my own judgment, so I asked always other people for their opinion and for their input when I was making a decision. And I asked not like 1 or 2 people, I asked like 10 people. And so I would do what the majority of people thought was best for me. And then you mold yourself and you tell yourself that you can't be anything more. Because one of the things that I've always been told is that I am too much. So like I'm too loud, I have too many opinions, I'm too stubborn, just everything is too much always. So I tone myself down all the time. But it's really destructive when you constantly tell yourself that you're way too much and people don't like it and you're too intense, and you soften yourself so that people will stay in your life and remain in your life.
Do you still find yourself slipping back into the kind of people pleaser version?
Yes, very much so, because it's an old habit that you've had for decades, and it's like this pathway in your brain that's been formed so good that in a moment of weakness where you're not on top of what's going on in your head, you can very easily slip back into it, and it can very easily go back to the wrong side again. So you have to do a lot of mental work and almost stay vigilant like every second to make sure that you form new habits and new pathways of thinking about yourself.
Seems kind of tough to have to be that kind of like present. So.
It is, but the way that I see it is I have no choice. I don't want to return to the person I was pretending to be, because if I do, I'll return to all of the pain that I've not avoided, but that I've sort of dealt with by moving forward. Because I know that at the end of it all, it will be better and it will lead to something good.
Is there anything else that like comes to mind for you that you haven't said that you'd like to say at all?
So the one thing that I would say that I've seen sometimes on like Instagram reels where everyone is like a guru is that when you sometimes get these epiphanies in life and you're like, oh, now I understand everything. Oh, life is going to be so great now because I know the way forward. And then immediately after, you're hit with a lot of resistance, because a new way forward means that you have to carve completely new ways of thinking and being. And a lot of the time, the resistance is so strong that you revert to your old self because it's too difficult to change. But the thing is that if you don't change and you always stay within the misery that you know, and you never evolve. And it's the same with, you know, growing outside of your comfort zone. Everyone is capable of it. It's just that a lot of people choose not to, because it's a threat to our survival in a way. So you prefer to stay in the known, even if it's misery, than to think, oh, but on the other side, things could be much better. And it's kind of like becoming this introspective journey. And yeah, thinking more about myself and what I want and listening to myself.
How did it feel to just talk about it all?
It feels good, but you feel also very much put on the spot.
Yeah.
It's funny because you kind of forget that the cameras are there after a while.
Yeah, you just end up feeling... It's kind of surreal, isn't it? Like, because I've been in your situation a few times, and I find it to be a kind of a strange experience. I find myself being very present when I do this. But you do kind of forget about the cameras.
And it's very different being interviewed versus when you film yourself. Because I'm used to filming myself, and I find that sometimes when I'm on the spot, I don't really know how to express myself correctly, and I can't use the footage because I just talk in circles and I'm not sure where I'm going.
I'm the same, yeah. So I feel like I think there's something going on where I'm just like, my mental energy is going towards noticing that I'm being perceived. Thinking about how I'm being perceived by the camera. And if I speak to a human being, I don't have that. I'm just like in a conversation with a human being.
Yeah, exactly. You don't think about yourself. You're just like...
So I actually just focus on what I'm saying and what I think, as opposed to worrying about how I'm being perceived. Yeah, even now, when I've been doing YouTube stuff for years, I really struggle. Like talking to the camera, it feels so unnatural to me. And you're used to talking to faces who give you feedback. It's very strange, but it's annoying because some people just seem to like be really good at it and like very natural. But I think it's definitely something that you get better.
It is something that you... So I used to never film out in public. I'd like hide my camera like this, and I'd never talk into the camera.
Yeah.
Now I do talk into the camera when there's not a lot of people around, but I notice I don't speak loud enough for the camera to pick up on the sound.
Right.
So I still need to overcome that. For me, it's more the fact that when I walk around and people see me film and they always have like this weird idea like, oh, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But the thing is that people don't care, because if I were to see someone filming, I'd be like, oh, they're filming. I'd be like, oh, they're probably on the phone to someone, like, who cares? Just move on.
Yeah.
And that's what most people think.
Yeah.
They look at you and they're like, oh, someone filming, and then they move on with their lives. So why do you care what they think? Even if they think that, oh, another YouTuber, another influencer, so what? They don't know you.
Yeah.
Whatever, move on.